As cricketer Phil Hughes battles for his life in a Sydney hospital, the New South Wales government wants to know why it took so long for an ambulance to arrive at the Sydney Cricket Ground on Tuesday. Embarrassingly, the ambulance service has also had to correct itself after initially reporting it had responded faster than it did. The state opposition says the delayed response in getting to the stricken Hughes is symptomatic of broader problems with ambulance response times in New South Wales. Simon Santo reports.
The cricketing world remains in shock about the devastating blow struck on Phil Hughes less than 48 hours ago at the SCG. Test captain Michael Clarke and many of Hughes' teammates have joined his family in maintaining a vigil by the 25-year-old as he lies in a critical condition in intensive care at Sydney's St Vincent's Hospital. The player suffered a catastrophic bleed in his brain and a fractured skull when he was hit by a bouncer by fast bowler Sean Abbott. While the sentiment is still very much about praying and hoping for Phil Hughes to make a recovery, there are also questions emerging about ambulance response times.
I support an investigation into the ambulance times. 23 minutes is absolutely unacceptable.
Walt Secord is the opposition health spokesman in New South Wales.
That is double the national benchmark. The national benchmark is 10 minutes, so 23 minutes is double the national benchmark. And yesterday there was confusion from the service and the government telling us that in fact the ambulance arrived sooner than it did. Now, our thoughts are with the Hughes family, but the fact is that it took the ambulance more than double the acceptable national benchmark to get to the scene.
Phil Hughes was treated on the ground by New South Wales's cricket team doctor John Orchard while waiting for the ambulances to arrive. The government is also concerned, and while the Health Minister Gillian Skinner declined to speak to AM, she's due to meet the ambulance boss Ray Crean this afternoon. Ms Skinner is expected to ask why the media was initially given conflicting information about the dispatch of two ambulances and their arrival times at the SCG. The opposition says it often fields complaints from people in Sydney's suburbs as well as in regional and rural areas about waiting times for ambulances. Spokesman Walt Secord is in no doubt about why this is occurring.
It's due to staff cuts in the call-out system, and also the distances. But it's from the point of the call to the time that the ambulance arrives on the scene, and the acceptable national benchmark is 10 minutes. And I'm getting anecdotal calls about this taking longer than it needs to, particularly in rural and regional areas.
And regular calls about this? I mean, how big a problem is it in New South Wales?
Well, I get three or four reported to me a month, which indicates there are many more people who, in fact, they're just concerned about an ambulance arriving. In times of great need, every minute counts. So when it takes an ambulance double the amount of acceptable time to get there, then that's a concern. This took place in Sydney's centre. This took place in a major geographical area where there are clearways. So there needs to be an investigation. It's right in the centre of the city, and it was double the acceptable national average.
The New South Wales opposition health spokesman Walt Secord ending Simon Santo.